Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. We talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm your host, Jeffrey, and subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another video. We just passed 140 subs. Thank you guys so much for all the support, and I hope I continue to make great content in the future. Now, in the SEC on Saturday, there's a very underrated game at noon between the Arkansas Razorbacks traveling on the road at the Auburn Tigers. Who do I think is going to win this game? Let's break it down. Now, Arkansas is 4-3 and 1-3 in the SEC this season, and Sam Pittman at head coach has done wonders at Arkansas. He's turned them around from one of the worst SEC programs to one of the better SEC programs, but they have had some struggles this season coming in where a lot of people thought they were going to have potential chances to win the SEC West this season, and they have kind of fallen short of those expectations. But they're still having a decent season. They beat Cincinnati in Week 1, 31-24, and that was a good win because that's Cincinnati's only loss of the season so far. And then Arkansas beat South Carolina 44-30, and obviously South Carolina is also in the top 25 just like Cincinnati. So Arkansas has two top 25 wins under their belt. Then they beat Missouri State 38-27 in a game they were kind of struggling, but they came back around and they beat them. And then they lost at Texas A&M 23-21 in a game that they should have won. As if they had hit a field goal at the end of the game, that would have been enough. And plus A&M had a play where they got KJ Jefferson's goal line fumble and then ran it all the way back and even had a lateral. So Arkansas could have definitely won this game. Then they lost to Alabama 49-26. They weren't super competitive in this game, but they did try. And then they lost at Mississippi State 40-17, and their worst loss of the season. Mississippi State's a decent team, but Arkansas should not have lost by this much. But then they came back and won at BYU 52-35, and BYU is not having one of their best seasons lately, but Arkansas did play very well in this game, and that was a good win for Arkansas. And in that BYU game, quarterback KJ Jefferson had 367 yards and 5 touchdowns and 32 rushing yards. He was back to form. He's been banged up some this season, but when he is healthy, KJ Jefferson is almost like Cam Newton at times with how athletic he is and running the football with his big body and the throws that he can make. And like I said, when he is healthy, KJ Jefferson is an NFL-like quarterback. Running back Raheem Sanders at 175 yards and 2 touchdowns against BYU. Fantastic running back. BYU cannot stop this guy, and he could definitely be in the NFL as well. Wide receiver Matt Landers at 99 yards and 3 touchdowns. Arkansas has a fantastic offense when they are rolling. And on the defensive side of the ball, defensive back Latavius Brini had 6 tackles. Linebacker Bumper Poole had 3 tackles. And linebacker Drew Sanders, the Alabama transfer, had a tackle for Arkansas against BYU, and Arkansas's defense is really good. They haven't been as good this season as they were last year, but if they can get the defensive side of the ball square, then Arkansas can be a really great team. Now on the Auburn side, Auburn's 3-4 and 1-3 in the SEC to start the season, and Bryan Harsin, head coach, is definitely on the hot seat. Auburn fans want to win more. That's why Gus Malzahn got fired, even though he was winning 8-9 games. And Bryan Harsin is really trying to do whatever he can to keep his job. And he is trying. And Auburn has done decent at times this season, but they've also really struggled as well. They started out the season with a 42-16 win over Mercer. That was a good win. But then they struggled against San Jose State, and they won 24-16, but they should have won by more. Then they lost to Penn State at home 41-12. And no Big Ten school should be traveling on the road at an SEC school unless it's Vanderbilt and win that way. And this was a bad loss for Auburn. Penn State ran all over them, and then they beat Missouri in overtime 17-14 for their only SEC win of the season. This was a game that Missouri could have won if their running back had not have fumbled it at the goal line. And then they lost to LSU 21-17 in a game they were really competitive in. This was probably one of their better performances of the season because they were able to hang with LSU, who's a really good team. Then they lost at Georgia 42-10, no contest there. And then they lost at Ole Miss 48-34 in a game that at least they were kind of competitive in, and they were putting up a lot of points. But unfortunately for Auburn, they could not stop Ole Miss. And quarterback Robbie Ashford had 140 yards and 2 interceptions, 35 rushing yards, and 2 touchdowns against Ole Miss. And he's a decent quarterback. Obviously, he is now their starting quarterback since TJ Finley's been benched for Auburn. And he can run the football pretty well. His passing game has to improve. He's not KJ Jefferson through the air. He can run the football, but Robbie Ashford's going to have to be way more consistent through the air if Auburn is going to be able to be a dual-threat offense. Because running back Tank Bigsby had 179 yards and 2 touchdowns. This guy's going to be in the NFL. He's Auburn's best football player. He's fantastic. Auburn's offensive line is not as good as it used to be, and Tank Bigsby is still running through that line and getting that many yards. And running back Jarquez, 180 yards as well. He's a good running back as well. Now on the defensive side of the ball, safety Donovan Kaufman at 8 tackles, defensive lineman Morris Joseph Jr. at 3 tackles, and cornerback Keontae Scott at 3 tackles and an interception for Auburn against Ole Miss. And Auburn's defense is not as good as it's been in the past. They still have a lot of talented players, but they need to clean up the defensive side of the ball if they're going to start winning some more games in the SEC. So who do I think is going to win this game? I think that Arkansas is definitely underperformed expectations for what people thought they were going to be this season, but they still have a lot of great wins like the Cincinnati and South Carolina BYU wins. And obviously on the Auburn side, they're just trying to play decent football so Bryan Harsin can keep his job. They're really struggling on both sides of the ball. The offense is turning it over too much. They don't have solid quarterback play through the air, and their defense is really not stopping a lot of teams this season. And even though this game is at Auburn, it is very tough to win at Auburn. It is one of the tougher home environments in the country at Jordan-Hare. I think Arkansas is going to go on the road and win at Auburn 31-21. I think Auburn can win this game, and I think Auburn is going to be able to try to hang in this game, and I think that Auburn's offense is going to do enough to at least make this game competitive. But Arkansas has more talent, and Arkansas is a much better football team at home. But I think Arkansas is going to go on the road with Sam Pittman at head coach and beat Auburn with Bryan Harsin at head coach 31-21. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Comment down below whether you think Arkansas or Auburn is going to win this game and why. And I will see you next time.